What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Lady Tecniq. I wanted to do a video today. There's been a lot of things that have transpired within the past 48 hours, it's just been a lot. Like, it hasn't been enough that we've dealt with the social injustices, the racial tension, and then the pandemic, and then the recent death of Naya Rivera, and then the young lady, I'm not sure what happened to her, the YouTuber who passed away. It's a lot of stuff happening in the world. There's a lot going on, and it really it brings things into perspective. Like, just the whole thing about Naya and the factors surrounding her disappearance, and there were so many scenarios that went through my head, but it was so sad to me because a little boy is without his mother. And then there was a young lady who was pregnant, who was due, and then she loses her life. And I don't know. I would say pre-COVID, like probably towards the end of 2015, I was in a very low and sunken place, and it was the most horrible feeling. And I mean, I was so depressed, and it's just, when you fast forward to now and things going on, I just feel so numb. Like, it's very numbing, it's very humbling, and it's very sobering at the same time. It just makes you think about how precious life really is, and how not to take things for granted. I think that, I could speak for myself. I was really guilty of taking things for granted pre-COVID, and we always think that there is a tomorrow, and we have certain plans. Like, everybody had a plan for 2020. Everybody in 2020 believed that it was going to be their year because it was 2020. And then, in some way, shape, or form, 2020 has made it an awakening of all levels. And I mean, so much has happened this year between Kobe and just all the countless tragedies that have happened this year with unarmed black men being targets, the young black woman who was a target, the circumstances surrounding Breonna Taylor. And it's a huge awakening. And if that's what 2020 means, to realize, like, our own personal journey to achieve a certain status, to get material things, makes you humble. Like, when a man plans his way, a man might plan his way, but it's God who orders our steps. I know for me, like, in times past, I would have these perfect plans, like, oh, well, I'm not going to do this until that gets done. And it's okay to have a plan, but I've also learned that, sometimes we have to be a little flexible. Sometimes we have to learn to be a little bit more kinder to ourselves. Maybe not to y'all, but to me. I could only speak from my personal journey. And then the constant distractions that we see on TV, like, just with all the recent stuff that really has nothing to do with anything but egos, and it's just, I don't get it. And I can't judge people for what they do in their journey, because I've had my own personal journey. And I just feel like if we are in a certain climate, we got to do better. And there's so many different themes to touch on here, just about the mother, like, women. Like, sometimes I even ask God, like, why do we have to suffer so much? Why do we have to go through so much? Why do we always have to get the short end of the stick when it comes to this thing? Like, why do women have to suffer, for doing what's right? And I can't blame God for it. It's just, I could say for me, like in my personal journey and what I've had to deal with over the years with the relationship between my ex and I, and something I've never really liked talking about because of the position that he's in, and me having to be silent and to be quiet and to keep my mouth shut, because if I were to say anything, then I would be viewed as messy. But I mean, a lot of people have known that the relationship, even between my ex and I, it hasn't been perfect. The compassion that I've shown to still get hurt. And so, I even ask in my own personal journey, why do women suffer and get the short end of the stick? And then I get reminded that perhaps, this is a test of all tests, and this is a part of the journey. But I mean, mothers, they try to do the best they can. We never get things perfect. But for a woman to lose her life and not be a mother, and for another young lady to have given her life, who brought forth the life, to be taken away. Like, I'm really trying to think of, in the grand scheme of things, what does this all mean? Like, is it our time to go, or is it time running out? I will present that as a rhetorical question, but as I'm doodling on my sheet, on my paper, like as I was talking, I just doodled. But it's just certain things that I think about. For those of you who may not know, I do identify as a devout Christian. I mean, the walk has not been easy. It hasn't been easy at all. But I've had to learn resilience through the process. I also had to learn that through the process there was no cheating the process. And I also had to learn not to have such a self-defeating mindset. But I'm in no way trying to make anything right now about me. If perhaps I could bring some insight and some perspective about why things are the way they are, there is something that is called God's perfect plan. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. That's what the Bible says. And some people would question even the Bible, and I can understand. I'm not here to try to debate about that, but when I think about, when I sit and reflect on what this would mean, what this means for me, how would this apply to my life in the way that I should go about things, or perhaps the way we should go about things, like this whole pandemic and this reset for some, self-reflection for others, reckoning even perhaps. I mean, reckoning has been happening for quite some time. I felt like it has been an occurrence over almost a 20-year span of time, and just different things have been brought up of just certain things happening. It's really deep. I mean, I guess it's so deep. But y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what history has shown. But my question is, with this time that is given, what do you plan on doing with it? I know what I'm doing with my time. I'm learning as much as I can. I'm immersing myself in master classes like I have immersed myself in VR in the past. I have been very intentional about utilizing this time wisely, because pre-COVID, that has not always been the case. And part of that has been due to my lack of self-discipline, hereditary, but refusing to take any medication for ADD. So I've had to navigate life a certain way, and we do the best we can with what we've been given. And look, okay, so this is where it is now. I didn't realize how therapeutic this was, just doodling and talking to the camera. I've also discovered that during this time, it has been extremely important to hone in on some of those giftings and skill sets. And I've discovered some new skill sets. One, the ability to edit video. The ability of creating content was always there, but actually sitting myself down and editing a video, that was something that was a huge challenge that I had to learn. Just discovering my love and just fondness of cooking in the kitchen and finding creativity in making certain meals and being innovative, learning to stay in more and spend less, being mindful of my finances, as well as identifying those businesses that I want to support and really be about that life. So, you know, this pandemic has not been a waste by any means. And I was texting somebody today on the subject, and, you know, he said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of you for getting all this stuff done." And, you know, I appreciated the compliment, but I feel like, well, with this little bit of time that I've been granted, that this is time that's being utilized efficiently, and most certainly it is a time that is not wasted. So with that said, and just in reflection and realizing, you know, how finite our lives are, that while we're here, that we just have to keep on doing the best we can and do it with the utmost greatness. So until next time, y'all, love, peace, and Tecniq. Bye.